Here we go. Well, welcome everyone to the Ultherapy Visualizer training for Ideal Image hosted by New Look Now. Just give you a little background information on myself. My name is Ashton Levitt. I am the Senior Account Executive for New Look Now. I've spent the last decade in aesthetics. I started my career off as a medical esthetician, and then I moved up into patient coordinating and eventually management for one of the largest practices here in Orange County. That's actually how I learned about New Look Now, is I actually use the tool myself in my consultations. Give you a little background information about New Look Now. New Look Now is a game changer. Our visualizer allows consumers to try on treatments on their own bodies with a photograph. Our call to action tool has increased consumer marketing efforts by 100 to 400%. The Ultherapy Visualizer has increased event conversions to anywhere from 80 to 90%. So first off, let's talk about how to add the visualizer to your iPad for easy access. So step one, you're going to open a new browser window and go to www.newlooknow.com/user. This link will be included in your welcome email. Step two, click on this square with the arrow, or with the up arrow next to the address bar. So that little box that's got the arrow in it. Once you click on that, you're going to scroll to the right on the drop down and hit add to home screen. So then you're going to see this little box with a dark box with a plus. Click on that and then it'll show up on your home screen. I would also advise you to save your login credentials to your keychain. We do have a really quick little PDF tutorial if you need it. So how it works. The Ultherapy Visualizer tool is free for you to use. There's three main ways in which you can use it: in office during consultations, which you'll be using, which is what you'll be doing on the 19th, in outbound emails and appointment reminders. In your welcome email, we'll actually provide you with 6 email templates that you can use. And you can also use it during events, and we do have this really nice, Ultherapy branded Christy Brinkley pop-up banner, which your guests can stand in front of it and get their picture taken. So this is what the welcome email will look like. You should, if for any reason you haven't received your welcome email by the end of day tomorrow, I'll have some contact information for you to reach out to. But anyway, the welcome email will contain your login credentials, a consumer link that you can embed in your follow-up emails, and also the 6 email templates. All right, now I'm going to back out of here and actually walk you through the visualizer. And just heads up, there will be a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and jot them down, and then we can discuss it at the very end. Okay, so once you log in, this is what you'll see. This is what we call the back-end dashboard. Now, on your iPads, it'll look slightly different. The iPad version, these boxes will be stacked, so they'll be vertical as opposed to horizontal. So the first thing you'll see is new leads. Then as you scroll down, patients with appointments, and then scroll down a little further, and you'll see quick orders. These menu options will be located in the upper right-hand corner in a box drop-down. When you click on it, all these options will then become available. So the first thing you want to do is click Create Order. Now, we're going to conduct a workflow as if your patient is in office for the consultation. So click on Ultherapy. Now, just a little tip, because I know your consultations are only going to be around 30 minutes, I would highly, highly recommend taking your patient's photo right when they walk into the consultation. So you're going to take their photo with your iPad, and then you're going to go ahead and jump right into this workflow. And regardless of what area they're interested in, I would highly advise you to go ahead and select all the areas concerned, maybe not décolleté, but definitely, upper face, lower face, and neck, and then the neck right here. So step one, you're going to select the areas for Ultherapy. And as I said, we're going to go ahead and just do the whole face. And you'll see why later on the webinar, why we suggest go ahead and offering the full face treatment, even if they're just interested in like in the brows or just around the mouth. Okay, so once you've selected your areas for Ultherapy, you're going to go to step 2. So now we're going to select the level of intensity. So there are 3 options: level 1, 2, and 3. Level 2 is the standard set by Ultherapy. So when we first developed this visualizer, this was basically the only option that there was. In fact, if I remember correctly, we didn't offer any types of levels. You would just jump right into the photo uploader. But the reason why we now offer 3 different intensities is after working with various customers of ours and the Ultherapy Legacy group, we realized that not all patients are alike, So if you have a patient that's, much older, has less collagen elasticity, they're probably not going to see the same result as the standard. They may see less of a result just because they're, less collagen elasticity in their skin. So in that case, you would offer them a level 1. Now, I do want to point out that your patient will not see this workflow. This is for your use only. So, you don't have to worry about insulting them or whatever. Like, oh, you're not going to get a great result because you're older, whatever. This is for your eyes only. So if you do have a patient that's, maybe younger, has more collagen and elasticity in their skin, they would probably be a good candidate for the 3rd level. In either case, if you select 2, this is, a safe bet. Like I said, this is the standard set by Ultherapy. Okay. So once we've selected our intensity, we're going to go ahead and upload our photo. Now, when you hit upload your photo, and I'm doing this on my computer, so this pulls up just basically where I, housed all my images. On your iPad, when you hit upload your photo, it's going to pull up, excuse me, I'll just pick a random photo here. Here we go. Anyway, on your iPad, when you hit upload your photo, you're going to be given 2 options. You're going to be given photo library and camera. Because you've already taken your photo, you're going to hit photo library and select the photo that you took just before you conducted this workflow. If for any reason you forgot to take the photo prior to the workflow, just click camera. It'll, push you right into the camera app, and then you can take their photo. The reason why we do recommend that you take the photo first is that way the photo is saved in your photo library. So if any reason you, there's a glitch in the software, or you drop, a disconnect in the Wi-Fi, that way you have the photo saved in your photo library, and you can go ahead and go back into the workflow and just re-upload. I can't tell you how many times I've worked events and I didn't follow my own advice, and I just took the photo while I was in the workflow, and there was a glitch somewhere, and now the patient's gone, they walked out, or they're walking around the event, and I have to go chase them down, and it can just cause problems. So just, if you can, please try and take the photo prior to conducting the workflow. Okay, now last step, you're going to enter in your patient's information, and it's important to put their info because you'll be able to go back and pull their, information inside the dashboard, and you can also have us email the simulation upon completion. For the purposes of the event, I would highly recommend selecting or checking off send email to patient upon completion. That way you don't have to worry about going back and emailing it to them afterwards. You want them to have the simulation already in their inbox during the event. So just be sure to check send email to patient upon completion, and also this is an event, because we'll be able to pull some data for you afterwards. And it's also it cues our quality control team to know that this order is coming in from an event, and that way they can kind of prioritize it that way. Okay, so once you've completed step 4, you're going to hit complete order, and you'll see the confirmation page. Now, typically for Ultherapy orders, you can expect them to come back anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes. Because this is such a large scale event and there's so many different locations all over the country, we are going to just go ahead and say, please expect at least a 30-minute turnaround time. We are prioritizing your orders on the 19th, so we're going to try and get them back as soon as humanly possible, but we are expecting a high volume of uploads from all of you. So again, that's why I suggest taking the photo right at the beginning of the consult, so that as you're going through the consultation, describing the procedure, we're working on the simulation, and then we can send it back to you. I do want to point out that this little chat feature right here, this is a direct link to myself, Vicki Hawk, who is the other account manager, and our quality control team. So at any point during the day you're having trouble, or you can't find an order, or you forgot how to do something, you can engage this chat feature and start a full-on conversation with us immediately. This icon will actually follow you throughout the whole visualizer, so even if you're not logged in, you can still engage it and get assistance immediately. All right, let's go ahead and go back. Okay. So we've noticed that, or not noticed, we know for a fact that practices that offer before and after simulations during their events will always experience high returns with low costs. It also increased patient conversion rates. We've seen like an average of 93% increase in their overall conversions when they offer simulations during their event. And that's just like if you just have like a pop-up banner like this, or in a situation like yours where you're having an all-day consultation event. it's the same idea. You're allowing your patients to see what they could potentially look like with a treatment they're interested in. You know, that a picture's worth 1,000 words. So make sure that you capture as many patients as you can on the day. So here's a couple tips for your July 19th event. So as I stated, take your photo at the very beginning of the consult, plan for the 30-minute turnaround time. Okay, so what I was saying, like, you know, even if they're just interested in one area, you're going to want to go ahead and simulate full face and neck. So as you're sharing the simulation with them, so let's go ahead and go back to the simulation. So once the simulation is complete, you're going to go back to your dashboard, okay? And you just created an order, so you're going to go to your quick orders bucket. So that's going to be the third one down. Click on quick orders. And once your simulation is complete, you'll see it side by side like this. And once it's still being worked on, you'll see order in progress. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the right-hand side and click on consult view. So you're in a consult and you want to view it during the consult. Okay. So as you are, this is level 1. So let's go over to level 2 just because it's a little more drastic. Okay. So as you are sharing this with your patient, you're going to hand them the iPad. You're going to let them use the touch screen to talk back and forth between their results. So start with the brows. You know, talk to them about the change in the brows. You're going to isolate the area. You're not going to talk about the full facial treatment. You're just going to talk about the brows. Have them switch it back and forth and look at the difference in the brow. Okay? And then you're going to move down the face. Look at the lifting in the cheeks. Look at the lifting around the mouth. You know, I'm not saying you have to make a huge deal out of it, but, you know, be excited, be motivating. But then once you've isolated each of the areas of concern, then you're going to talk about the full facial correction. And this has been a very, very effective technique with the MERS reps and practices during their events when they're talking about the actual simulated results and the procedure that they're interested in. Okay. Now, for any reason, if you didn't check the box, send an email upon completion, you can always email the simulation to them right down here. So all this will do is you click on email your simulation and your whatever email program you're using on that iPad will pop up and you can just email it to them there. So this, just since we're here, here's what level 1 looks like. And then, of course, we just looked at level 2. And then level 3. Okay, let's go back to the tips. Okay, so yeah, so full facial, face and neck, you're going to isolate treatment areas as you're showing the results. And then finally, after your event, we highly recommend including the consumer link to your no-shows for your follow-up. So if you're going to send emails or text messages to the people who didn't show up but did RCP, we do recommend including the consumer link so that they can go ahead and upload their photo for the simulation, even if they didn't go to the event. It's a really great way, a really great additional touch point, still engage them even though they didn't show up. So the consumer link is inside of your welcome email. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself or Vicki Hawk. You will receive an email either from myself or Vicki with all of your credentials and everything. So the welcome email is going to come from one of us. If for any reason you have not received your credentials by end of day tomorrow, go ahead and reach out to Vicki Hawk and she will make sure that you get those. Okay, so now I'm going to unmute everyone so we can do a little Q&A. 1 second. Okay, so does anybody have any questions?
I may have just missed it when you were going through the before and after isolating it. I don't know if I just missed like where you had clicked, where you had said to go over the individual areas before the full face. Is that something that just automatically happens?
Or are you, as far as like what area select?
So like in looking at this, in order to just show the brow, like do you have to hover over the brow, or is it every time you hit the button it just goes through the different?
No, so this is the final product. So the way that you want to just, so you're gonna select the areas that you want to show your patient while you're creating the order. So this would happen before this stage. So you're gonna go to create order, select Ultherapy, and then here is where you'll select which areas you want to be simulated.
Right.
So, yeah, so you're gonna select all of the above for the full face, and then once it's complete, we'll go back here. Once it's complete, you'll have the simulation. Now, as far as isolating, it's going to show you every area that you've selected, but you're just in a sense that you're going to isolate the area in conversation. So you just direct them to look at the brow, and then you can talk about the change in the brow, and then you're going to look, and kind of move down the face. The idea is it gives them, how do I put this? It creates more conversation. They see the correction in one individual area and the impact it makes in that individual area. And then once you've talked about all the areas, then you have them look at the full face. It's just way more impactful that way. And this is advice that's coming straight from the MERS reps who have, and they do events, all the time. And so this is their technique. So, because they're out there always doing these brow events. So people come in just to talk about brows. But then even though they're there just to talk about brows, they do a full facial treatment for the simulation. And then they go through and they talk and isolate each individual area before they move on to the full face. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I was confused because I wasn't sure if the visualizer was going through each area or if it was just a matter of showing the end result, you're concentrating on each area.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you literally hold the iPad and you can point to the areas, let them use the touch screen. I mean, that's what I used to do with my patients. I would hand it to them. I'm like, okay, go ahead and touch the picture. And, and you could see their eyes kind of light up. They're like, wow, that's so cool, and because it's laying the result right on top of their own photo. So it's pretty cool. You'll see it, but then during that time, that's when you say, okay, now that you've seen your simulation, let's talk about the brows. Let's talk about the around the mouth and things like that. The neck, and then let's talk about the full face.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. Well, everyone, good luck on the 19th. You have, reach out to us if you have any questions. If you haven't received your credentials by end of day tomorrow, please reach out to Vicki Hawk. A copy of this webinar will be sent to everybody that RSVP'd. Anyway, thank you so much for coming and have a great day.
Thanks, you too.